Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to Getting to Know You, an Owners Club exclusive podcast. Stop right now, go down, hit subscribe, give us a like on this video because you're going to love to hear from Mr. Vin Ochoa. Hi, Vin. How are you?
How are you doing, Kathy? Thank you for having me on.
Good. Thank you. I appreciate you being here. I'm excited to hear about your story. So I'm just going to jump right in. You are
Let's
known as Vin and Michelle or Michelle and Vin.
just to clarify, Michelle and Vin, because I don't know if anybody knows Vin and Michelle. I know it's very just joking about it, but there's a lot of truth. We're real big networkers, and as odd as it seems, we're both very introverted. And so there's Vin, there's Michelle separately. Like nobody, like, I'm not sure if we've ever met, but then you say Michelle and Vin, like, oh my God, I know exactly who you guys are. I see you guys all over the place. She's 100% the better half of the duo.
That's sweet. Well, we'd love to hear who is Vin Ochoa. Tell us about yourself.
Vin Ochoa, originally from California. I've been doing real estate for over 20 years, which is crazy to say. This is my 21st year, mostly on. And the reason I say mostly on is I took about a year and a half off of real estate March of 2008. So anybody that's been around long enough knows why March of '08 is very popular, or very famous, I should say. I shouldn't say popular.
It's famous for a negative reason.
Yes.
Infamous 2008.
100%. I think it's for all the younger generation millennials that are listening. It's our take on COVID 2019, 20, whatever year you want to say, depending on the state, which is just crazy to say that. It's funny talking about COVID. COVID was actually the year that finally decided to leave California and move to Texas. Had been trying to get into Texas for numerous years, but for one reason or another, it just didn't happen. And then finally COVID was like, okay, I've had enough of this. I've been locked up for, I think the entire shutdown in California was over 2 years. And it's funny, depending on what state that you're in. I had numerous people, numerous friends that I knew that left for Texas, and they said that they were shut down for 2 weeks. I'm like, what? I'm going to figure out how I'm going to get there. And sure enough, in California, it was all fix and flip. And now it's all buy and hold because, again, anybody that knows real estate knows the difference of landlord-friendly states. So it's definitely a big thing.
Going back to 2008, so you said you've been in real estate for over 20 years. So that puts us around 2005, but you took a hiatus at 2008. So tell us, how did you get here to Owners Club? What has your real estate journey been? What
Ooh.
projects have you worked on? What is your niche in real estate? Do you have a niche?
Yes, and I think like any, and I try not to overuse this word because I do know it gets used a lot. The entrepreneur individual, I think, pivots several times throughout their journey for the better. My start was in '04, and like every smart, world's greatest real estate investor, I'm like, I got to get my real estate license because that's what every smart, intelligent person does. You know, I want to get into real estate, so I got to become a realtor. I still to this day have my California license, but I don't use it for traditional real estate. For full transparency, anytime I actually done real estate is stuff that's either fallen on my lap or my broker gave to me or just friends and family. But I really did it to just make me a faster investor. For example, if something that piqued my interest hit the MLS at 11 o'clock at night, I'd be walking the property at 1 in the morning. And if I really liked it, I'd have a submission into the property by 6 a.m. Really just trying to stay ahead of it, even though not knowing any better at that point, they usually submit all the offers at the same time to the property owners. But at least I was top of mind and already on the phone the morning of. I'm like, hey, I'm really interested in the property. I'd like to take a look at it. What can we make happen to get this off the property today? Also, really just for the access of the Supras. For anybody that doesn't know, they're basically physical keys at the property on a little lockbox. If you're a licensed real estate agent, then you can access the lock and walk into the property. So it just really made me a faster investor. That's all I did for many years is fix and flip. A couple of years into it, I really looked at my surroundings, and I think this was the first major pivot. I was looking for real estate advice from the wrong people. And the reason I say that is they always say the 5 immediate people in your circle will determine the direction that you're headed in life. And that really resonated with me. I'm like, okay, who am I asking for real estate advice? And I realized that a lot of people that I was asking were just theory people. Let me show you how to do this, or you should be doing that, and you should be doing this, and you shouldn't do that. And finally, I'm like, something just doesn't feel right. And I think that was the first life lesson for me, is that you really got to listen to your gut. Your gut's telling you something for a reason. You should listen. I always use this analogy. It's like asking for love advice from my uncle that's been divorced 7 times. It just doesn't make any sense. He can't tell me how to be in love. He can't tell me how to be in a happy marriage. He can show me how to be single. That's all he's really going to be good for that specific scenario. So I figured there's got to be a better way. I didn't know anything about masterminds at the time. Networking, yes, but they were more broker opens. And anybody who knows real estate is just basically a broker has, hey, come over for coffee. I need to unload this property. That was the extent of my mastermind and networking at that point. Figuring, okay, there's got to be a better way. Then here comes 2008. Haven't really figured it out. You're only as successful as your last transaction. You only have food on the table based off of your last transaction. There's got to be a better way to do this. So with that quote unquote correction, I'm like, this sucks. Maybe real estate isn't everything that I keep hearing about, but who am I hearing it from? It's nobody immediately in my circle. One night, an infomercial comes on, which infomercials are usually on in the middle of the night when you should be asleep. And I get turned on to a real estate group. The gentleman that was speaking at the time felt like he was speaking directly to me. He was very strategic on the pain points he was addressing. He was talking to my emotional side. I don't know what this is. I don't know what I'm signing up for, but they happen to be 3 miles down from where I was living at. Let me go check this out. That was my introductory into hacking the learning curve. Basically, what could take me 10 years to figure out on my own, I was okay with paying to learn off of somebody else's experience. Obviously, you have to vet it and all that good stuff. The very first thing I actually bought into was fortune builders. Anybody that's been around long enough has heard about them. They're still kind of around today, but they were real big years ago. And from that point, I really hit the ground running. Now there's SOPs, there's KPIs, there's documents, there's everything that I didn't have, everything that I needed, but didn't know that I needed. I didn't even know what I didn't know. So that changed the trajectory. This is definitely a life hack in my opinion. Paying for somebody else's education, not just the good stuff, but the bad stuff as well. Lo and behold, several masterminds later show up at something called Squat Up in Dallas, Texas. Both Michelle and I were already part of Sub 2. We're part of Gator. So we had heard of Owners Club from the year before, but we weren't able to attend because we had a prior speaking engagement literally down the street from where Squat Up was at the exact same time. And so when we went to the event this year, I'm like, this is something that we're going to do. Kind of had a ballpark idea what the investment is. And for me, that's a big thing, is saying investment, not the cost, because it is an investment. And so before the event was even over, we made a conscious decision that both Michelle and I were going to join Owners Club. Real big believers that whatever you put into something is what you're going to get out of it. We try to squeeze every ounce of juice out of that lemon because it's only going to make us bigger and better for the bigger picture.
So you start looking around and you realize it's just the opinions of others. It's not based on facts. So good for you for
100%.
acknowledging that and pivoting and getting yourself out of that.
It took me a minute, but I am thankful that it happened. It was probably about a year and a half in, maybe a little bit longer. I mean, we're talking about 20 plus years ago when my gut was saying something. I finally asked, I don't remember exactly what the question was, but his answer didn't resonate. It didn't feel right. And I finally asked him, I know you teach real estate. I know you're in front of classrooms, not very big stages at all, but as a real estate educator, I finally asked, what history do you have to be able to answer my question this way when I've been doing this for the last 18 months? And the response was, I don't have any. I don't do real estate. I've never done real estate. I teach. And I'm like, yeah, this is bad. This is bad. I know you talk about financial advisors as well. And I think everybody should have financial literacy. But even to that extent, one of the first things that we always ask for, and it's not that we're arrogant or trying to showboat, by no means are we built that way, Michelle and I. But if we're talking about our personal finances, my immediate question is, okay, if I'm making more money than you, and I'm not saying that that's the case, but if that is the case, how are you going to guide me to where I'm trying to get to when you haven't seen what I'm currently doing personally? And so we're very intentional now about what we do and who we do it with.
So what are you working on today? What is your business model?
The biggest difference between California and Texas, California was all fix and flip. I had never even looked at trying to buy and hold because it's not landlord friendly. The only time I was is when there was enough doors behind it. What I mean in regards to that is multifamily, small apartment buildings, that kind of stuff. Because if you get that one person that knows how to work the system, and I've seen this firsthand, a year, no problem without paying rent. If anybody that's listening to this doesn't believe me, Google the lady that I think was in Palos Verdes. I don't remember exactly where, but I know it was Southern California, at a doctor's house, had stayed for 2.5 years rent-free in a multi-million-dollar mansion. And then he had to write her a check for $750,000 to get out of the house after living for free for 2.5 years. So never did that. Here in Texas, our portfolio is all buy and hold, which really was a new a habit for me to learn. Anytime I do anything new, there's always that little bit of fear factor, but I'm really good about getting comfortable in uncomfortable situations. Michelle had actually started before her and I started working together. The portfolio started with her and her mom. So she already had the experience, and I got back into it with her once her mom decided, okay, entrepreneurship isn't for me. I like having a W-2 job. I've been retired. I think I want to go back to retiring. You have him now. You guys make a better fit. It was almost like a tag team match in WWE. I'm tagging you in, I'm out kind of thing. So for me, it worked. Michelle always says, I don't buy purses, I buy real estate. I'm like, hey, I'm 100% on board with that because that's benefiting me too. She does all the acquisition, and then once that's acquired, I'll do the handoff of the rentals, the MTR, all of that good stuff. We're very much in the MTR space. For anybody that doesn't know, San Antonio is known as Military City, USA. So we do a lot with military. We do a lot with displaced families. We do a lot currently with traveling professionals because San Antonio's grown so much. I think Austin, which is about 60 miles north of us, is like, okay, we can't fit any more people from California or New York. You got to go elsewhere. And they're coming into San Antonio. So literally any direction you drive in, you're going to run into construction. San Antonio doesn't have that infrastructure. We've housed full-on construction companies in our homes as far out as Florida, as far out as California, and everything in between. They usually think that they're going to be here for 7 days. We've had people stay in that specific scenario 3 to 4 months. Displaced families are probably 6 to 8, 6 to 9 months. And so that's what we're doing. We figured out that the property management is not the best seat for either Michelle or I, so we've brought in a property management company. And for 2025, we've been in the capital raising seat. For full transparency, my 20 plus years of real estate, I've never ever put in a single penny of my own dollars into any one of my personal real estate deals. Since Michelle and I have been buying our portfolio, same thing. It's always been other people's money, OPM, and leveraging private money lenders. That's really our superpower, is connecting, building rapport, being out in the communities, building relationships, all of that good stuff. Last year, people were asking, like, do you have any PMLs? I'm like, I do, but I've been working those relationships, some for 20 years. I'm not just going to hand that over. And I think that's kind of something that just doesn't resonate with people. Just, it's not like I'm telling you, hey, go see this mechanic. These are relationships, and when there's money involved, there's a lot behind it. I couldn't in good conscience be like, hey, go talk to Rosemary down the street. She's looking to put some capital. It doesn't work that way, and that's just being honest. So the light bulb moment went on. We can be capital raisers and connectors and PMPs, private money partners, in some of these deals. So that's what we've been doing, and throughout our journey this year, we've now cemented direct relationships with DSCR lenders, new construction lenders, even commercial RV parks, mobile parks, business acquisition loans, basically all of that. For RV parks and mobile parks, we can do the parks as a whole, not the individual RV or mobile home. We get asked that all the time, like, hey, I found this mobile home for $40,000. I'm like, unless we can do it with a private money lender, it doesn't really fit our lend box. So that's what we're doing for this year. We just actually acquired a property in Colorado, a co-living property with another OC member, being PMPs in the deal. And so we're still able to grow our business while being of service to other investors. For us, that's huge. And especially because it's co-living, it's all about being purposeful, because we're real big on impact driven projects. It's not just about the capital for us. It's about making an impact in somebody else's life.
So you mentioned MTR earlier, and for anyone watching in our audience that's not familiar with what MTR stands for, that's a midterm rental. I think you're traveling nurses. Sometimes it's insurance related. If a family is displaced because of fire in their home, they can go into a midterm rental, which is typically a 3 to 6 month lease.
It's not a new space. This has been around forever. If you go back even 10 plus years, anybody that's been doing this for long enough, it was corporate leasing at that point. It's been the same thing. It's just different words. I think the new flash word everybody's talking about is MTRs, midterm rentals. But I've known people that have been doing this for 30 years. I'm like, that's not what it's called. It's called this. I'm like, you're right. It's the same thing. It's anything 30 nights or more up to 11 months and 29 days. Basically from 30 days to just under a year is an MTR.
So did I hear any multifamily in that? Large multifamily, not just co-living, but like
Yeah.
200.
We've done capital raising for multifamily. We personally don't currently own any. For 2025, we've purposely stayed out of that pond, if you will, at least for the first half of this year. And the reason I tell you that is that a lot of our private money lenders are in that market. And we've gotten more and more of them reaching out to us saying, hey, what do you have on the smaller deals? And this is just our personal experience. Anybody that's listening to me, do your own due diligence, go do your own research. But from what we see in our day-to-day business, a lot of those investors that are accredited investors that have anywhere from $500,000 to multiple $1 million out as lenders are either A, taking it in a bath, meaning that they'll be lucky if they break even, or this should have been their year to get out, meaning that the property would have been sold to another investor and they can't because they're upside down on it, or they have to stay in it for an additional 3 to 5 years, which they really don't want to and they weren't accounting for, to then hopefully be able to at least recoup their money or make some kind of profit. So usually a lot of those individuals have additional capital that they weren't looking to put into this. Maybe it was crypto or stocks or gold, and they're reaching out like, hey, you guys have been very reliable. Your terms aren't as sexy as they are in commercial, but today they look magnificent. They look like the number 10, and my commercial is looking like my number 2 date that, I took out on Tuesday night kind of thing. And I know that sounds a little weird and bad, but it's like, hey, commercial was doing great 2-3 years ago. Now I'm lucky if I'm surviving. You guys have always paid your agreed upon interest rate. And even though it's not as sexy as making 20-30% over here, I can bank on it. I don't have to think about it. It truly is mailbox money. How do I get more of that? Because I'm getting my butt kicked over here. And so that's why we've looked at for later on this year for storage units. We've also started planting some seeds for business acquisition. For anybody that knows, we know Jason from OC very well, and that's his lane. We've gotten really good at leveraging relationships. We love Owners Club, and we love everybody that we've come across, and we even love the people that we haven't met as of yet, but we would love to meet everybody to make those relationships even stronger. Our superpower is not everybody else's superpower, and that's okay. Jason's superpower, and I'll reference him maybe once more after this, but his whole thing is business acquisition. And we've ran the numbers. And for him to have his superpower, I'm okay with paying his fee because it's something I don't have to go and learn. I mean, the man's smart. He's gone to Harvard. He went to business just for this. Why wouldn't I want to hack 10 years of his life if he's already gone through that? And now we can go into a partnership and own businesses together while giving either a fee or ownership or anything like that. It's only going to help me grow and scale. We're doing the same thing with Randy Rodriguez. We're looking at other co-livings with him. Same thing with Doc. I didn't know Doc before we just got back from Monterey a couple months ago. Now I love him. He's part of our accountability group, and I would say that he's very big on pushing everybody forward, and that's what I would say is one of the rarest things that I've seen about this group as opposed to every other group I've ever been a part of or mastermind. And this one isn't the most expensive I've ever been a part of, but I think it's the most intentional one I've ever been a part of, and it's amazing. If you're not doing big enough, somebody's going to call you out and be like, you need to do more. And that's huge. I've never seen that in any other group.
Well, how could someone bring value to you? What do you need in your business right now?
For us, it's twofold. We're still always looking for private money lenders. We have a perfect record when it comes working with private money lenders. Now, when I say that, I'm not saying that every deal we've gotten into has been perfect. If anybody ever tells you that, regardless if it's 1 year or 20 years like myself, if they tell you that, they're lying to you. And that's just me being completely transparent. Because it's not a matter of if something's ever going to go bad, it will go bad. And it could be as simple as just a contractor putting a kibosh on your project and all of a sudden you're delayed for 6 weeks. Even something as simple as that. That's happened to me. And holding property in California gets expensive real quick with that monthly hold. That doesn't go into the actual numbers that you were thinking about originally. But we're always looking for private money lenders. We've always delivered on what we said we're going to deliver on when it comes to our PMLs. That's one side of the business, always looking to work with private money lenders. But we're also at this point looking for borrowers. We look for borrowers that have 2 successful HUDs under their belts, 2 successful transactions that they've done. And the reason I say successful is we've had people, well, I've done 2 deals. I'm like, what was the outcome on that? Well, they both went sideways. I'm like, those are not 2 successful transactions that you already have. We're getting off on the wrong foot here. It's people looking to borrow that have history, that are good at their numbers. Usually in real estate, it's definitely a tough game, but it is a game that I think is worth playing. But you're usually good at deal acquisition, deal finding. You're usually good at underwriting, or you're good at raising capital. You could do all of them, but without a team, it's extremely difficult. And I say that firsthand. It's like, okay, I found a deal. I got to run the numbers. Now I got to do this. Now I got to go find the money. Oh my God, now I got to close in 14 days. It's literally a rat race. So we love working with people that have the deal flow, that know how to underwrite, that have history, but just don't have the bandwidth or the time or the patience to capital raise for their own deals. We love working with those kinds of people, especially when we can do a PMP, a private money partnership, where we can go into something together, especially if we're bringing private money into the deal. On the more institutional money, it's a little bit different. We can pretty much lend anywhere in the US. For private money, we only lend in landlord-friendly states. The simple reason is that if everything goes to hell in a handbasket, I want to be in a state that I can actually move a little more freely to make sure that the private money lenders we're working with, we can make whole at the end of it. If it's a deal in California, I'm not saying it's completely off the table, but it's not going to be a priority to try to get into that deal. And I'm from California, you're from California, but it was just certain things that I would never do in California while I was there investing.
Yes, agreed. Before we sign off, I believe there is a networking group. Can you tell me a little bit about your networking group that you and Michelle do together?
The networking event that we call the OC room. I believe that's what you're talking about. Trying to be very intentional. And for full transparency, I'm very much an introvert. I know it doesn't seem like it, but if I get out of my own way and I just start talking, I can't stop, because I know an object in motion stays in motion. But whenever I physically in person go to a networking event, I'm sweating. I'm getting ready to pass out as I'm walking. Like, it's bad. I know it sounds funny, but it's bad. And so my hack to that is, as I'm walking towards the front door, whoever I run into first, it could be the CEO of a company, it could be somebody parking cars, it could be somebody sweeping the stairs as I'm walking into the building. We're going to have a conversation. I don't know what it's going to be about, but we're going to have a conversation, because once I get that first one out of the way, it gets easier for me, and it's all downhill after that. The OC room was kind of born off of that. We were going to, I believe it was Monterey, so this only goes back a couple months, and just feeling overwhelmed by all of these high power heavy hitters in the room. And this is very much a limiting belief of me. I'm like, man, I don't know if I belong in this room. I don't know if I've done enough to be in this room. You start comparing, I'm like, no. This is my journey. I can only compare myself to me. But how can I be of service? How can I connect with more people and be intentional? And it wasn't even called the OC room. Originally, it was just Monterey meetup. Something very simple. I just want to connect with people to have conversations like this before we go to Monterey, so that I don't walk into a room feeling like I'm going to pass out. I got to see some familiar faces to be able to connect with somebody. First person I see, I'm going to shake their hand, and it should all go downhill from there. We didn't think it was going to be as big as it got. The very first call we had was just under 200 people. Like, there was so many people that showed up. Michelle literally on the call, the first 5 minutes, she's upgrading our Zoom account because we maxed out at 100 and people were still in the waiting room. We had another one 2 weeks after that. Our intention was never to purposefully do this, but we kept asking, is anybody getting value out of this? Yeah, we love it. This is something that we want. We want to keep doing this. How can we still keep connecting? I just had to deal with so-and-so in the last 15 minutes. This is amazing. So I'm like, okay, as long as it's giving value to everybody, because it's not about us. It's about just building relationships. It's as Pace says, we try to build the impossible room to make impossible things happen. And that really is the basis of it. People say it's you and Michelle. It's really not. It's about all the OC members and trying to bring value to everybody that shows up and try to connect. The last call that we were in, we do quote unquote speed dating, to where it's 10-minute breakout rooms with 5 to 8 people to really try to build those relationships a little bit deeper. And every room that I was in, there was a business deal, and I'll say potential because I don't know if it ever turned into fruition, but to where people are like, oh my God, what you need is my strength. What your weakness is my superpower. Oh my God, I didn't know that you were doing this. This is in my backyard. How can we work together? So on and so forth. And it's just amazing. As long as this keeps happening, have no problem continue doing it. It's about trying to give back to the community.
That's wonderful. If you're watching this and you're in OC, go to the Networking 101 and take a look for their next event. I'm sure it's going to be fantastic. How can someone get a hold of you? What's your best form of contact?
I'm going to give you a 2-step answer here. The best way to get in contact with Michelle and Vin is going to michelleandvin.com. We always get asked, Michelle Rodriguez and Vin Diesel from the Fast and the Furious. I guess we can go with that, michelleandvin.com. My handle is My Story Vin across all social media, and anybody that wants to check out Michelle, hers is My Story Michelle across all social media.
Well, you heard it here. Reach out, talk to them, connect with them, network, and hit that subscribe button, the like button. I will put his details, the websites, in the show notes. So if you missed it in this replay, go down to the show notes. He's there. Thank you again, Vin. Pleasure to speak with you, and we'll catch Michelle on the rebound next year. How's that?
100%. Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you.